Dominic. We call him TikTok. Mr. Dominic TikTok Bazile. I met him at Morehouse College. Now, I'm just thinking about all the saxophone players that when I think saxophone players at Morehouse, what was the first person come to my mind? I'm thinking first was Greg Husband. And then after that is you. You know, it was interesting how you came through as you know, you always composer because you were writing. I believe you were writing when we were in the band, right? Weren't you writing for the band sometime too? Did you write? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like you've been composing, producing, musician, songwriter. There's all these different things, and then the resume with I'm looking right now at your Instagram. You know, it's right there. Ludacris, Juvenile, Garner. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm sitting here, I'm looking at everything because I don't want to miss anything. But yeah, man, I'm gonna just let you introduce yourself and just, I guess, a little brief introduction of like what are you doing right now? Because I know you work for PreSonus, and like, so what are you doing right now? And then we can kind of like take it back a few steps to Morehouse.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Dominic Bazile, also known as TikTok in certain circles. That's the old band name that I got. Currently, I hold position as a product manager for the company PreSonus Audio Electronics, which is based out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is where I live. Also produce and I mix bands on the side as well. I produce for independent artists, but I also have worked with major artists, major label placements, have TV placements, movie trailer placements, movie placements, all of that type of stuff. And you know, I'm all about sharing knowledge, things that I've picked up, helping people get to where they're trying to go. You know, just spreading good vibes all around, pretty much.
Yeah. That's dope, man. PreSonus. Tell me a little bit more about PreSonus, because I've as a producer, you know, I work with PreSonus. Is it software and hardware, or is it mostly on a hardware? So it's both. Okay.
Yeah, we started hardware. So like the company was started by two LSU students or graduates in 1996. So this is our 25th year. So we're celebrating 25 years of PreSonus Audio. And they started with hardware products. I think they were first like digital hardware processors, you know, what you would use when, you know, mixing bands in a studio or in live environments. And so we just kind of grew it from there and expanded to different types of products within the audio MI industry is what we call it, which is not the pro level. It's more, I guess, prosumer, I guess you could call it, you know, with the average person going to Guitar Center, you know, stuff that they would buy. So hardware and software for that market, pretty much.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We're at Morehouse. And when you came, what was your major at Morehouse?
So I initially came in as a computer science engineering major.
And then you changed to?
So I changed to music. So yeah. I mean, I always had a love for music. I've been playing saxophone since I was in the 3rd grade. And then, but also had a love for technology, computers. I was always that kid, you know, I would take school computers home, you know, because my mom was a teacher, you know, during the summer, and I would just mess around, tinker with them, and, you know, kind of learn programming and that sort of thing. So I had a love for both, you know, and in high school, you know, marching band was big. Well, even in junior high, because I was from New Orleans, so, you know, we did Mardi Gras parades and that sort of thing. So marching band is big in New Orleans. So that just kind of carried over when I moved to Augusta, Georgia, and marched in a band in high school. And, you know, I always knew I was going to go back to Southern, you know, and march in the jukebox, you know. Even though my band director wanted me to go to Jackson State and bring this.
Your band director in Augusta wanted you to go to Jackson State?
Huh? Yeah, exactly. Because he graduated from J State.
Okay.
So he could get me there. Honestly, he could have got me there with probably on a full ride and whatnot with my
Right.
talent.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, things happen the way they happen with Southern, and last minute, mom's like, "Look, just apply to Morehouse." I was like, "Morehouse." Like, all right. I applied to Morehouse, and literally like 2 weeks after I applied, I was accepted. I was
Yep.
like the happiest kid. I was like, oh, I guess it's Morehouse.
Yep.
Decisions were made. So I didn't know anything about Morehouse's band, if they had a band, if they had a football team or nothing. I didn't know any of that. I just knew I was going to major in computer science and engineering.
Right.
And I would do the dual degree program. You go to Morehouse for a little bit, and then you go to Georgia Tech or whatever other technical school to finish out your degree program.
Yep.
So that was the plan. And so, some kind of way I got wind of Morehouse having a band.
Yep.
And I did.
Was Blake Gaines there at the time?
No, that was Turner's first year, actually.
Okay.
He came in. 96 was Turner's first year.
Okay.
So when I came in, I did NSO, and actually I came a week before NSO because I was in the band. They would have a band camp.
Right.
I was there from
Right.
start.
So band camp had already started. Okay. Shit.
Band camp had started, and that's when I came. That's when I first moved in, and that was before NSO. So I had a taste of college life before I was even really properly indoctrinated through NSO. Which was cool. Which was actually a good thing because I it kind of gave me a sense of camaraderie and brotherhood before I even met the other brothers that I was coming in as a freshman with. So which was really cool to have like a built-in family already just from that first week. And all of y'all are still brothers to me to this day. I know I can call y'all up and we got each other back and this, that, and the other, even though we don't see each other on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Anywho, so yeah. Huh?
So we got that common bond. That ain't never going nowhere.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sure. So yeah, I came in that year in 96 and as a computer science major, and I did that, and I did band. I was in the jazz band as well as concert band. I was doing gigs on the side. So it was really a balancing act through those first years, of music and computer science and engineering, and that would it's kind of taken a toll on me, and it's stressful. I actually and this is something I tell people now, is like it's nothing wrong with seeking help. If you think there's an area in your life that you fall short at, or you need some help or push, especially as a Black male, always go find some help from somewhere. And so in those years, I was like really depressed because I was like not performing like I wanted to perform. I even sat out a fall. I sat out of the band a fall so that I could try to get my academics on par, and because that was equally as important to me, as the music. And so I was going. I knew I was kind of in a depressed state, and I didn't know what to do. And so this is something I don't tell a lot of people, but I actually went to counseling on campus. I had sessions just to kind of get my head right, because I was like, man, what am I doing? I feel like I'm lost. I don't know what I should be doing here. And that actually helped me get through that period of time. And so about my third fall, which was the fall that I sat out of the band, I decided that I was gonna switch my major because I love music a little more than maybe the tech side. And as a computer science major, to be honest, my goal was to actually merge the two. So to merge audio with technology and that sort of thing. So I decided, I would just pursue the music because that was a strength of mine, and I just felt like I could be a little more successful with that. And so, yeah, I finished out my college career as a composition major. So that included saxophone performance as well, but my degree is actually a bachelor's of arts in composition.
Okay, all right. I never knew it. Like, you know, you never know what somebody else is going through or dealing with. You know what I'm saying? All I knew was the brilliant TikTok on saxophone, man. That's all I knew. You know, that's crazy, man. But yeah, you're right. I mean, and then you got to think about the time that was back in the late '90s. You know, back then it was kind of like you didn't say anything about anything you might have been going through, and especially as a black male, you didn't say anything about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, right. I think, you know, if I would have told my dad anything like that, he probably would have been like, you know, suck it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. You know, what you talking about? Like, yeah, whatever.
That's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. So it's like, but you know, now one of the things is like it's okay to be like, yo, man, like you need to go seek some help. Talk to some people, man. Don't be
feeling the real, man. Yeah.
It's just as important as going and getting, you know, making sure that your heart pumping right and everything else. Right. You know, that's really important. We don't talk about it enough. We really don't, especially in music. It's funny we don't talk about it in music because a lot of times in music, that's where people are always pouring it out. You know, all the lyrics that you're writing and even the compositions that you write, it's all in there. You know, it's all therapy.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so I graduated 2002. Now keep in mind, during the summers, now I had been coming back to Baton Rouge. All right, because my brother, or both of my brothers, actually my sister as well, she was still, I don't think she's still, but they were all here in Baton Rouge. So my brother, he had his production company here. He's actually still working or producing with No Limit.
Okay.
And so I would come for the summers and, you know, he would take me in the studio because he knew, you know, I played saxophone. And, you know, he saw something in me, you know, talent or whatever. And so he would kind of take me under his wing and bring me in the studio. And, you know, I just kind of literally felt my way around the studio, you know, just watching, trying to learn and pick up things and whatnot. So that first summer, you know, I kind of did that. Second summer of doing that, I got some hands-on, you know, some of the artists would pay me to do their recording session if the producer wanted to go do something else. You know, they say, hey, Tech, come press this button, you know, and it's literally just pressing the record button.
Right.
Do it over, rewind it, press the button again. Now, keep in mind, this is before Pro Tools was like really taking over. Pro Tools was really relegated for like big studios. So for the small project studios, it was all still, you know, more analog modules, and we were recording to these VHS looking tapes called ADATs. So it looked like a VHS tape that you would play a movie on, but really a digital audio that was recorded to it. And we would have stacks of like 4 of them, and each of them would do 8 tracks. So that's 24 tracks that you could record to, and you had to sync them all up and stuff. It wasn't like analog tape, which is a different beast, but it's kind of the same concept, but it's just digital. So I kind of learned that process, going back and forth, you know, those summers down here in Baton Rouge with my brother or what have you. And that's kind of how I cut my teeth as an audio engineer, you know, just getting that hands-on training and in a real world environment, because these were actually real records, you know, and the way they recorded their records back then, I mean, it was only like 2 or 3 weeks, because you were pumping them out. So, you know, they would cut those albums really fast, mix them.
I bought every one of them. Every one of them albums. But I remember, man, every one of them. Goodness gracious. Yep. Goodness.
Yeah. So they would cut the album, producer would mix it in-house, and then they send it off to Brandon Grumman, the master, send it back, all through FedEx. It wasn't no email or internet. I mean, internet was there, but, this was like FedEx, 1-2 day turnaround,
Right.
and check the masters and this, that, and the other. And then the next week, it was on Billboard. It's on the chart already. It's already released and whatnot. So, it was a factor. It was a really good, intense environment to kind of learn the ropes of getting around the studio and how things work, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I did during the summer. So once I graduated, I kind of already had done those internships to where it was like, okay, well, I got a place I can actually go work. Well, at that time, our brother's production company and Beats by the Pound, they had left No Limit. That was a whole thing. You could look it up. But that was the whole thing to where they left No Limit and they went out on their own to start their own production company. So 2002, right. I graduated. I did that first year just kind of being a starving artist, playing saxophone, playing jazz gigs around town, sleeping on couches here and there.
Where? In Baton Rouge?
No, this is in Atlanta. This is in Atlanta.
Okay, I'm about to say, boy,
I hadn't moved back to Baton Rouge yet.
Yeah, okay.
So I kind of, did the starving artist thing in Atlanta, trying to get in on the production side, sending demo tapes and, turning down bad contracts, because there's a couple of people I ran into in Atlanta. They offered me production contracts and
right.
I would look at it. I, tell people all the time, if you want to know something, man, open the book. The information is out there. So, I would, the whole time when I was going back and forth to Baton Rouge during the summers and whatnot, I was also picking up books to kind of learn the music industry and how contracts work and this, that, and the other, because I really didn't have anybody to coach me on that aspect of the music industry. So when I did finally get some contracts, I was able to read it and decipher it for myself. And there's a lot of terms that I didn't agree with. Maybe I wasn't savvy enough to negotiate with them. I would just straight up turn them down. It's like, nah, or just ignore it.
You got to sign a bad contract.
Right, exactly. I knew I didn't want to get locked into something and be exclusive to anybody and then lose rights and this, that, and the other. So I was very careful about that. I did that for about a year, and I worked with some artists here and there, independent artists in Atlanta. And, I did that for about a year and nothing really popped off. So I was like, okay, well, let me see. I could move to Baton Rouge where I already have kind of this, set up for me. So that's pretty much essentially what I did. I mean, I guess you could kind of call it pride. That first year was like, I want to make it on my own. I don't want it to be, but I mean, in this industry, to be honest, you do have to take advantage of who sometimes it's not just about what you know, but who you know. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Most definitely.
So I did that. So yeah, after that first year, after graduating, starving artist, trying to make it on my own, and like, all right, well, let's go to Baton Rouge and build up the home team, because they had left No Limit and they wanted to build their company up. So that's pretty much what I did.
And then, so when you get to Baton Rouge, do you hit the ground running, just working?
Yeah, it's pretty much. I became a studio rat. I literally slept in the studio.
So that's when you were mixing these projects.
Yeah. So I was set up as like an in-house producer, in-house instrumentalist, because I played multiple instruments: saxophone, keyboards, guitar, bass, or what have you. So whenever somebody needed a little extra flavor, flute was popular with them. I was there, and then at the same time, I had access to all this equipment, You know, I could learn the MPC, I could learn the ASR. You know,
yeah, you were learning all the equipment as you were, and it was all right there. Yeah, it was like a little playground. Yeah, that's
right. Tight. Exactly. So I was taken care of because it's just me. So, you know, as long as I was eating, I'm good. Look, I'm surrounded by all this equipment. There's nothing more I could really ask for at this point, you know, than a dope artist to work with, to be honest. So, you know, I just kind of learned everything in there, you know, and got my beat catalog together, and you know.
Yep. Man, that's dope. And so from there, things kind of cruising, it seems like. And then what leads you to your first major production project?
So let's see, that was 2003. I moved. So backtrack, when I was in Atlanta, all right, because I knew these guys were, you know, because of who they were always submitting to whatever artists. It could be T.I. I went on a couple of trips with them to T.I. studio since it was in Atlanta, and I was in that at the time, you know. Ludacris, they produced a couple for Ludacris or what have you. So I ended up trying to, you know, do beats and cater my beats to these artists because I knew those opportunities would be coming up. So I was like, well, I'm gonna be ready, you know. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? So I did this one beat I remember at my boy's crib in Atlanta when I was still in Atlanta. He had a bunch of equipment and whatnot. And so I did this one beat. I was like, man, that's for Luda. And so I did the beat, and I think I sent it to my brother. I was like, look, this is a beat for Luda, whatever. And I had just missed them submitting for the Chicken and Beer album.
Okay.
So one of the other producers, Moby Dick, he ended up getting like 2 joints on that album. One was with Snoop. And then I forget what the other one was. So, you know, that went. And then so I just kind of held on to the beat. And then when I moved to Baton Rouge in 2003, you know, about close to the end of 2003 or middle of 2003 or so, they had another, you know, oh, Luda looking for more beats. You know, so of course, all the producers is 4 of them. They put all the beats on a CD, and they said, Tick, you got anything? It's like, yup. I don't know how many beats I gave them, but that one beat that I did in Atlanta, like a year and a half to 2 years earlier, I was like, man, this got to go on there because I know this is flavor.
Right. That's the one they chose.
The last one on the CD. The last one on the CD.
Wow.
That's the one they chose. So the cool thing about these guys, Beats by the Pound, KLC, Moby Dick, Old Death, my brother Craig B, was that these are, you know, straight up gentlemen, you know, cool as all outdoors. They're not looking to mess over anybody. They straight up about the music, you know. All family guys, you know, take care of their families and whatnot, straight up guys. So so when they, you know, when they got word, you know, it's like, yo, Tick, you know, they want that beat. It wasn't any, you know, I didn't have any type of agreement with them. It was, you know, it was kind of an unspoken agreement, like, this is family. You part of the family. You're part of Medicine Man, which is the name they were going by at this time.
That's right.
So it was like, that's yours. That's your credit. You know, it wasn't like, oh, we need to take a percentage of this or of your publishing or whatever. And so much so that they actually, the label actually kind of messed up the paperwork and credited everybody. And then, you know, KL ended up, you know, speaking up and saying, no, this is Tick. This is Dominic. This is his record. He wrote, he produced the song or whatever. And so they got that squared away, and all the paperwork came out, and, you know, it's hits. It ended up being a song with me and Luda as the only two writers on the song. So it's a 50-50 split.
Right.
That's excellent for your first placement, for anybody's first placement.
Are
And
you
you
kidding me?
can't get no better than that. You can't get no better than that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For a major label artist, and you got a 50-50 split on it.
You said that was right after Chicken and Beer?
Yeah, so that came out on the Red Light District
Red
album.
Light, yeah, Red Light. I'm looking at it right here. Red Light District album. Yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So out of that group, that was the only song, unfortunately, that placed on that album. But yeah, KL, he did Move Bitch, which was on the Word of Mouth album.
Yeah.
Moby did 2 on the Chicken and Beer. And so yeah, that kind of just started that whole relationship with the Madison Men and Ludacris.
Right.
What was the Move song?
Right.
And you know, they just kept coming back for more. You know, they wanted more of the Louisiana flavor.
They want that flavor, yeah, no doubt. And now that I think about it, I'm like, damn, yep. That was that flavor, yeah.
If you listen to that song, because now here's where it got real. You're not in the music industry until you get sued.